Hi everyone, welcome back to Food Venture. For those who've watched my other videos, I'm Adrian. And today I'm gonna show you guys how to make Korean stir-fry noodles called japchae, aka the birthday noodles. Now in Australia, it was summer when I made this video and it was so hot outside. I was slightly worried that this would not be a great dish in this weather because it can go bad quickly in heat. But since it's spinach which usually causes this problem, I had this idea to swap spinach for chives instead, which is unlike the traditional recipe. Now, let me tell you guys a little more about japchae. The name japchae means mixed vegetables and doesn't require specific vegetables. So technically, it actually doesn't matter even if I make the switch. That means if you guys don't have some of the veggies I'm using, you can pretty much swap them for anything that used in Korean dishes. But I still think if this is your first attempt, try to make it as the way I make it, so that it's close to authentic Korean japchae. Now on the scales, this dish is not easy, but only because there's lots of steps involved. But I promise once you get started, you'll realize there's no special skills required and the steps will come together easily. And remember, I'm gonna be right there with you guys throughout. So, shall we begin? Now, let's start with soaking the dried mushrooms and the sweet potato noodles. I would say soak them for at least 10 minutes. Any longer won't make any difference, so you can just leave them to soak while you prepare the other ingredients. By the way, you don't have to soak the noodles if you don't want to. You'll just have to cook them for longer. Anyway, let's put that away so we can start cutting the vegetables. Slice the carrots and onion thin. We're gonna saute the veggies very quickly, so if they're too thick, they won't cook properly. And trust me, nothing is worse than accidentally chewing on a fresh onion. On the other hand, for the capsicums, you want them to be slightly thicker. The idea is to keep some level of fresh taste and crunchiness. Now for the chives, cut them to about the length of pinky as you can see here. I love chopping cause it's so much fun for me. But if you can't be bothered, of course you can just use slicer that looks like this, or that, or those. It's completely up to you. I saw one of these at my local supermarket and it was quite cheap too. For the meat, I like to use the thin slice of lean pork. This is loin. If you like something more tender and flavorful, I recommend you use pork neck. But for the protein, you can use pretty much any meat you like. Beef, prawn, chicken, take your pick. And if you're a vegetarian, you don't have to use meat at all. Just don't use beans to substitute the meat. I've tried, the texture was so awful. But some fried tofu will do a great job though. Now by the time you finish cutting the meat, the mushrooms should be ready. Cut them into small enough sizes. You know, Korean people do love this word enough. If you had learned cooking from your Korean friends, they will keep using the word 적당히 instead of using the correct measures. The closest translation will be enough, but even this doesn't explain it 100%. But then, the benefit of being a home cook is that measurements are based on the way you like it. So in a way, 적당히 sounds like the correct measures, doesn't it? Okay, here's why people feel like it's difficult to make this meal. It's because you have to fry each ingredient individually and precisely. I have to agree that's a bit of an effort, but with a little bit of preparation, you'll be able to make things much easier. All you need is to have a large plate and the paper towels next to the stove. Once you're ready to go, heat your pan really hot. Remember, we want to saute everything quick. If the pan is not hot enough, the water starts coming out of the veggies and you'll just end up boiling them. For the oil, by the way, you can use any vegetable oil except for olive oil. In fact, in any Korean food, olive oil could be such a distraction from the dish because it has such a strong flavor. Now the pan looks ready. We'll fry the carrots and onions together. Carrots go first because it takes longer to cook. Season with a pinch of salt, and when they're well coated with oil, put the onions in. Remember to keep stirring while frying, so they cook evenly and more importantly, they don't burn. When you see some transparency on the onions, let's put them on the plate we prepared earlier. I would say take them out of the pan when it looks slightly undercooked, because it will continue cooking on the plate with the remaining heat. Next is the capsicums and chives. Oh, you don't have to wash the pan by the way. Just wipe the pan with a paper towel and it's ready to go again. Make sure the pan is hot. If it is, let's move on to the next ones. Now put the capsicums in. I like to undercook them so it still has the crunchiness. But if you like it to be softer and sweeter, you can cook them for longer. Then put the chives in and fry another 15 seconds. Once that's ready, put them on the plate next to the onions and carrots. Again, after a quick wipe of the pan, we'll now cook the meat and mushroom. The meat goes in first, seasoning, then put 1 tablespoon of mirin, soy sauce, brown sugar, and garlic. You don't necessarily need to wait for something called Maillard reaction, because japchae is often served in the cold. And if you overcook the meat, it will get really tough when it cools down. Maillard reaction basically means that your meat turns brown and acquires an awesome flavor. It's a chemical reaction which boosts it when sugar and amino acid is heated in a certain temperature. But who cares? As long as it's brown and delicious, I'm happy. Once the meat is well coated with the sauce, put the mushrooms in. It's important that you don't wait too long before you put them in, because you need mushrooms to release its water and cool down a pan a little to help deglaze the sauce before it gets burnt. Not to mention you need to keep stirring and flipping. Look at them. Don't they look delicious already? Now let's cook our noodles. It will only take about 3 minutes if you had soaked them earlier. If you hadn't, probably about 7 to 8 minutes. It's very difficult to tell whether the noodle is cooked or not because of its texture. You may think there should be a cool trick to it, but the truth is that you just need to keep tasting it. Again, again, and again, again, and again, 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 and again. Okay, it's done. Once you drain the noodles, cut them with scissors. I can imagine a lot of Italians are pulling their hair out, but guys, you'll thank me later. Now, you may wonder why I couldn't just pour everything into the mixing bowl in the first place. I mean, you can, but by putting the hot ingredients on top of another, the vegetables will end up overcooked and soggy from the heat. Now, we're gonna mix it without the sauce first, so later, the sauce can cover the ingredients evenly. It's hard to mix because the noodle is very sticky and dry at the same time. This is why cutting the noodle earlier really helps. This is later, guys. Don't worry about mixing them too well, because we're gonna mix it one more time after we add the sauce. Finally, we're gonna add some sauce and finish up the dish. 4 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of crushed garlic, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 4 tablespoons of sesame oil, and 3 tablespoons of sesame seed. And I don't know why it hasn't been filmed, but put in 1/3 tablespoon of salt as well. Mixing will be so much easier with a bit of moisture and oil. Once you're happy with the mixture, let's move on to the plating. This is so exciting, I can finally eat soon. I mean, I ate them already, but I'm gonna finish the leftovers. Anyway, look at how nice it is. I wish you guys could try some. Seriously, it smells so amazing, it will definitely attract all the Korean people within 5-kilometer radius. Japchae may be something that is too tedious to make daily, but once you decide to make it, it's easy to make in large amounts. After all, the dish is even nicer when it's cold, so it's perfect for leftovers. And it's for this reason that this dish is perfect Korean party food, and why Koreans always have it for their birthdays. Because it's easy to scale up the quantity, and it's delicious as well. Japchae is one of my favorite dishes to make, because there are so many variables that I can alter while making it, and it's so fun to try different versions. Although I indicated that this recipe is challenging, I'm confident to say anyone can make this. Be patient, take things slow, and try to follow the instructions step by step and cook along with me. I promise you will end up with lots of compliments from your friends and families for the dish, especially any Korean friends you may have. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Next week, we'll be back with military soup. What an interesting name, I know. Our little onion friend will give you a short history lesson on this soup with a scary name, so stay tuned for that. If you have a cool recipe and you'd love to share with us to feature on the website, please let us know and we will credit your creation. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Enjoy the weekend and see you guys when we're hungry again. Bye!